as I said, and God bless, um, and I told you that I would do this. Um, it's my clicker. And this talk was obviously just straight from the heart. There were no talking points. There were no themes. There were no messages that I didn't drive home. I didn't say the same thing over and over. I don't know. But so getting the thing that I was going to get to and now getting to, let's talk about politics. I definitely believe that my politics are affected by my social views, and then in turn it's a cyclical thing where then the politics affects my social. So I had the opportunity to be a part of something, and during that I had the opportunity, and I used the word twice because it truly is exactly that, to give a closing statement. So I'm going to read a little bit of that. I'm going to say that closing statement, and then I'll probably just say a couple of words after that, because I believe that it's still applicable, and I believe that we live in a day and time and age where we need to be actively involved in our communities, actively involved with our government, and actively involved with our municipalities. One of the saddest things that, from a civic point of view, when people say, oh, this and this and this and that, and you say, but did you go and actually hear what's being said, the decisions that are being made that will affect your life? You have the power to get involved. So I'll just get right into it. And this is basically about the political process. And I believe that the political process affects us all. I would dare to believe that all of us likewise have some form of religion, whether that be a belief in a higher power or belief in oneself. Beliefs matter because they affect us. I think that today is a great illustration of why the political process is so important. It is the discussion or illumination of what we believe and hold dear that challenges our notions of independence and causes us to act. Voting is an act. Voting is a choice. Voting is the direct response and effect caused by what you believe. Our distinguished panelists, and I'm talking in the past about the panelists that were a part of this event, state their beliefs in open view for all to see. And I cannot imagine that everyone has the courage to do so. It's not easy standing on the corner and using the loudest horn to get someone to hear an idea or to warn or to inform. Life, as we know, is filled with the everyday and the mundane. We truly are interesting people as a whole. Yesterday, I made mention of one comment in speaking in the past to Dr. Janice Briggs in conversation. If you are the smartest person in the room, you need to leave. I'm going to say that again. If you're the smartest person in the room, you need to leave. And I think that we both laughed because she taught me that. Again, going back to how your circle of friends becomes your circle of influence, which changes your life arc. This process is relevant to discuss because no one is the smartest person in the room. Each of us brings a uniqueness to this thing we call life that only you can bring. Communication, or the expression of ideas, has long been the main source for the advancement of civilization. If Mrs. Piang Ling were here today, she would say people need to talk more and listen more. In our cultural climate today, we are faced with the apparent issues from social justice and reform to housing and welfare to poverty and disasters. And though they may not seem related to the political process, it very much is. If their economically disadvantaged school system seems to lack resources, get involved in the political process so that you can process things to the area of need. If the issue of how to pay for your child's future education is yours, then get involved in the political process. Know your local officials and funds or resources that are available to you. If you think your neighborhood is overrun with crime and poverty or that police brutality is real, get involved. There are many issues spoken about here, and all of those issues involve you. You are part of this political process. You hear about it, you read about it, you discuss it. So think of it as communication. Representative John Lewis said, let us get into some good trouble. We should hold people accountable to what they say before us as the protector by extension of the things that we hold dear, and elected officials are those people. They need our support, but we need theirs too. And if ever there was a time to discuss things, now is the time. Our nation is built upon a very simple principle. All men are created equal in the sight of God, and all men should be free to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. Laws should not disenfranchise the very people they were meant to help. The people are the nation and not the other way around. This political process is about us, the people. It is about the single mom working, trying to earn a degree and change her standard of living and quality of life. It is about the family trying to figure out how to pay ever-increasing medical bills to care for their aged family. It's about the youth walking down the street with every intention to dream of a way out of the ghetto and no intention of getting into anything criminal, but made to fit a societal view that is not his own nor his reality. It is about the manufacturer and the worker, the immigrant, the waitress, the nurse, the fireman, the police officer, the educator, and even the prisoner. But most importantly, the political process is about all those who would dare to dream, who dare to believe that they could change their stars. It is these dreams that politicians hold in the palm of their hands, and they can alter a person's life with the stroke of a pen, or a nod, or a nay. So today, if I may I ask that we look at this phrase, the political process, from a new vantage point. And that vantage point is the one seated or standing right next to you. President Kennedy once said that he believed that a black man could very well be president in the next 40 years. I think it was 1968. I think Barack Obama became president in 2008. It's very, very near. He's very close to his belief. I like the other thing that he is known for saying. Ask not what your country can do for you, but rather what you can do for your country. So get involved, be involved, stay involved. And the reason that I think that it's applicable for today, I have my own political views, and these are my political views and not the views of any organization that I'm involved in. So I can speak freely saying that this is how I feel about things. We live in a period of time where I see an assault on culture. And this is my personal opinion. So we know that there's an impeachment process going on. We know that President Trump has been impeached twice. We know that there are allegations on both sides of the aisle, whether you're aisle or whether you're Democrat or Republican. We know that there's been inflammatory comments by both parties, but yet there doesn't seem to be one standard for both parties. And this is my personal opinion. I believe that if you say something, don't say that the other person that said it is now wrong. You're both wrong. You're both wrong. That's my personal opinion. I believe that in this age, there's an assault on truth. And I believe that people should stand for the truth. They should stand for that which is good amongst ourselves. I'm not a parent. I believe there are some things that I would not agree with, and I do not agree with. For instance, I do not agree with little girls going to the bathroom with their parents and having to have a man stand in the bathroom because he chooses to associate himself with a different gender. I don't agree with that little girl being put in that position, nor do I agree with the parents being put in that position. It's alarming for me because when I grew up, you could not do it. So again, that's an assault on the cultural values in contrast to a period that I grew up until now. Now, there'll be some that agree that this should be okay. I believe that biologically that we are either male or female. And I stand on that because there's nothing that can contradict that. And if someone can contradict that and they tell me, then I will change my mind. But physically and biologically, we're either male or female. What you choose to associate with after that, that is up to your individual, and God bless you, and you can do that. That doesn't necessarily mean that I will agree with it, nor will I support it. But these are my own personal opinions, not the opinions of anything or any organization that I am involved with. And I can say that freely because I believe that the things that we believe, again, it's who you are that affects the things that you do. That being said, I believe that each and every person is a God created creature and that they should be treated with the dignity and respect no matter what they believe, no matter what they espouse, no matter what they do. I don't believe that we have to retaliate and treat people otherwise because they have done something that offends us or something that offends society. I do believe in grace and mercy. I believe that we should treat people, even if we don't agree with them, even if they espouse views that we don't espouse, with a certain dignity and respect that is due them as a human being and as a brother or sister in this thing called life and mankind. So you don't have to agree with me, and I don't have to agree with you. But this is what I will do. I will treat you right, and I hope that you will extend that favor back to me. So there are other things that are going on. Obviously, there's poverty right here in this town of Winston-Salem. There's generational poverty. I was just thinking about it. One of the greatest evil that we could say would be poverty. Poverty of spirit, physical poverty, and poverty of mind. When you alleviate poverty, you might alleviate some of the criminal aspects of certain neighborhoods because a large portion of what people do is predicated on the fact that they don't have money, is predicated on the fact that they don't have the necessary things that other people do. They look across the street, and I don't literally mean across the street, but in another different neighborhood and see there's an entirely different life out there. And again, this goes back to life's not fair, but yet we're still playing on the same playing field. And we also know that we can't change it all, but we can make and create measures to create opportunities for those. I really am a big fan of the opportunity zones. I'm a big fan of equity. I'm a big fan of entry-level employment. I'm a big fan of allocation of resources and redistributing teachers to socially, economically disadvantaged neighborhoods and schools that are failing so they can be likewise getting a better opportunity in education from teachers that are probably more skilled than some others. There are a lot of things that we can do. We can never even the playing field, but what we can do is give people the opportunity to get in the game, this game that we call life. So again, this political process, when we think about the things that are going on in Washington, 11,000 people lost their job. This is a stroke of a pen. That's all it was. Stroke of a pen and a decision. Now, granted, that decision is based on or predicated on that something else may happen, but in the meantime, for the person that just lost their job, that's traumatic. What do they do? Because, the job that is coming isn't just yet. And those people have real problems and real lives. And we see a lot of that, especially as we've been impacted by COVID. And now we've got a change of administrations. God bless President Trump as he's going out. God bless President Biden as he's coming in. I will say this, that some of the rhetoric needs to stop. That's my own personal opinion. I believe that there's a certain way that representatives should carry themselves. But most importantly, not only are they representatives, but they're representing. And there is a large gap there philosophically, I think, between the representative and the community that he or she represents. Because the mandate is that this people has chosen you to represent them. And the expectation is that their will and their desire will be what is enacted upon. But we find often that is not the case. And we're seeing the ramifications of that in certain parts of the nation where people are being censured by their body, their constituents. We see people being removed from committees for making statements in the past. I believe that we all make misstatements and that we all change. There are some in psychology and sociology that believe that our thinking process changes every 7 years. For instance, I did not think the way that I was 14 or when I was 21 and when I was 28. And I'm not going to tell you how old I am just yet. So we evolve and we make mistakes and we grow And we have that opportunity. I think what's one of the great things about America, say what you want. I think it's the best game out there and the best deal out there, and people are knocking down the door to get here. And there's a reason. I talk to someone from Venezuela every single day, and I can tell you this: they may love their country. The opportunity's here. The opportunity's here, and for people that do live here, and I know that oftentimes we don't realize how great we have it in comparison to people in India and Africa that literally have no shoes, that literally don't know if they're going to eat. Not today, ever again. There's a hope and there's a despair out there, and yet at the same time we see people that have so much money that they couldn't spend it in 30 lifetimes. And we say, how does that happen? Why does that happen? And what can we do? If we could just talk to somebody and say, maybe, you can do this or do that. I don't know. I think that's all part of our humanity and a part of who we are, which affects what we do. And that, I wish that we could solve all the world's evils. I wish that no child felt like they were not loved. I wish that none of the bad things that happen in life happen. I wish that, I didn't even make great decisions growing up, but I'm thankful that God allowed me to outlive them. And I think that our representatives, especially in Congress and in the Senate, should give each other a little bit more leeway and put some more spice on the chicken, so to speak, make it a little tastier and stop burning it, because, we're all we have, and we should be burning each other down. And we need each other, and we need each other more than ever, particularly now. I think the rhetoric needs to stop, but I think the ill will towards each other, regardless if you're Republican, Democratic, or utilitarian, or whatever party you are, you're still American. And there's something to be said about that. To see people in the streets, particularly Black people, colored people, doing some of the things that have been done within the past couple of years is disturbing, extremely disturbing, extremely alarming and unsettling, so to speak. And to do that in the name of social justice, considering the people that have gone before you, that have died for the cause that you say that you now espouse. And this is my personal opinion. I think that it's reckless, and I think that it's harmful. And I think that we need to stop that as a group. I'm not saying every individual is doing it, but I'm saying for those people that do it, just take some time to think about it. And think about those people that have gone before you, that sacrificed, that bled, for the opportunity for you to do a simple thing like vote, to be desegregated, to have the opportunity for education, to have the opportunity to own a store. These things are real, and there are people that literally died for you to have those opportunities, and to waste those opportunities and to act in such a manner that defiles their memory. I just think that it's wrong. That's my personal opinion. It's just wrong. And I don't believe that two wrongs make a right, but I think that there's a better way that we can go about delivering a good message, an uncompromising and an unrelenting message to people that, there are inequities in our society, and these inequities have been persistent through the lifetimes and lifespans of generations, and that there needs to be a solution to these apparent discrepancies. And I believe that the way that we go about that is the best way. The process is just important as the progress, as they say. The process is just important. It's the way that we go about it that means the difference. I don't want to be remembered as a vandal. That's me. I have the opportunity to do a lot of things in my life, and I have the opportunity to outlive a lot of things in my life. And my prayer is that my life is the totality of what I've done and what I'm doing, rather than just the singularity of an act that I probably have done. And I'm thankful to outlive a lot of things in my life. And I think that in hindsight, looking forward, that some people will be very, very grateful to outlive certain periods of their life. And I think that if we, as quote unquote brown, Black, whatever people, and I always like to think that we're just people, Um, there's a better way of going about things. And I believe that communication is definitely a key, and understanding is definitely a key. But one thing that we cannot do is that we cannot destroy each other. We cannot burn down our own neighborhoods thinking that we're helping. We cannot burn down other people's neighborhoods thinking that we're helping. All right? We cannot be stealing or vandalizing or rioting or punching innocent civilians in the face in the name of social justice. That's not social justice. That's anarchy, right? That's anarchy. That's anarchy. And that's violence. And that's civil unrest. And I can tell you this. My mother doesn't want to walk down the street and see that. And she's black. My grandmother doesn't want to walk down and see that. And I know that my neighborhood doesn't want to walk. I don't want my neighbor walking down the street and somebody butting over the head. And my neighbor's white. And I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want my neighbor's business burned down. I don't want their windows broken down. $8 billion worth of damage in the name of social justice. My personal opinion is just wrong. It's just wrong. I think that there's better ways. You want to help? Go to your city council meeting. Yeah. You want to help? Go to your city council meeting, be informed, and if you don't like the way things are going, then vote for somebody in office that's going to get things going the way that they need to be. We need allocation of resources. We need computer. We need health. We need infrastructure. We need property value to rise. There are a lot of things that we need. We don't need vandalism. We don't need vandalism. And a lot of these things, you can be a part of the solution. You can change your world, and you can change your stars. But it's going to start with you and your point of view and the way that you see the world. And I know, and I will say this again, the world is not fair. We're still in the same playing field, though, each and every one of us. And the opportunities that we get that arise in our lives, take advantage of those opportunities to change your world, to change your stars, and to be the best version of yourself, in spite of the fact that you may not be in the same circumstance as somebody else today. But the end is not the beginning. So be involved in the political process. I hope that I've said something that inspired or enlightened and motivated you to do something good in your life, to continue on the path, or to be able to visualize that there's something else out there for you. Because I know that it impacted me, my life, when there are people that believed in me and that spoke to me, took time and invested in me, and helped me to rearrange my life and to be able to see that, you know what, Curtis, you can do it. In spite of everything that's happened, you can do it. And again, I would just say that if you keep chopping wood, the tree will fall. It may not fall on the first stroke. It may not fall on the second.